Good evening, everybody. We're glad you are here. We welcome you back to First Fiesta. We hope you would have installed VS Code and Git by now. And in case you haven't, please do it right now. The next part of the session will be taken over by Yajat and Alok, who would be doing an interactive session on Git commands. The next session is called Git.Set.Go. They would also be showing you how to make your first open source contribution. The session is essentially very important for you to participate in Code Sprint, as it will be clearing all your doubts regarding how a PR is done, how a PR is merged, and everything and anything related to that. So yeah, Yajat and Alok, over to you.
Yeah, so hey everyone, I'm Yajat and this is Alok, and we will be taking a session on Git today.
So we'll also be helping you to make your first open source contribution today.
So are you guys excited to initialize your open source journey? Write in the comments.
Can we see some yeses?
Okay, so
yeah,
we can see some yeses. So let's get started.
Yeah. So Yajat and I are working on this super cool project. Do you guys want to know what it is?
Yeah, so what we are doing is we are making this really fancy calculator app. It has a state-of-the-art features like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and guess what? Division.
Like, wow, it's awesome.
I know, right? So cool. So we have implemented almost the whole thing, but recently we found out there was this one issue in our code that we did not handle division by zero.
Yeah, Yajat, did you fix that issue?
Yes, Alok, today I finally fixed that issue.
Yes, then great. Then could you send the updated code to me?
Yeah, just give me a sec. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you in that, that huge email thread that we have.
Yeah, the thread.
Yeah. And yeah, check your email.
Okay, yeah, I got the email. Let me just download it. Oh no, wait, I have to choose where to download it. I'll just save it to the same place. Oh, yeah, now I have to unzip it. Oh, great. Now I have a lot of calculator folders. Wait, now which one was the one that I downloaded? Oh no.
I don't know, check like the 40th folder or something.
Oh yeah, the 40th folder. Okay, now where is the code that you made?
I made the changes on some line number 14, 15. I do not know. Just
okay.
check.
Yeah, this is bad. Now, this is how normal life works. And okay, now it's Git life. Welcome to the other side, the cooler side.
To sync our changes, all I have to do is push the code.
And I have to pull the changes.
And voila, our code has synced.
Yeah. What black magic did we just do now? How did we do it? And how can you do it? And that's what we're going to see in this session.
So to do this, we use something called as Git. So let's hear a story about how Git came to life. So back in 2005, the creator of Linux, you can see his face, Linus Torvalds, was working on Linux when he realized that the current code management system was not good enough. So this frustrated Linus a lot, because of which he came up with this new system, his own new system called Git. And that's how Git was formed. Now you must be thinking what Git is. So Git is a version control system. It's also called VCS. It is one of the world's most used VCS. it helped. Now you would be thinking, what is VCS? This guy just coming and just throwing terms at us. So VCS is a tool that helps you record changes made to your projects over time in this special database called repository,
Now,
in the previous session, right? So that.
all right. So why is a VCS needed? Now, in order to maintain these code versions, right? So when we talked about code versions, say I'm working on a new feature, so there'll be a new version of the code and I publish the code, but then I have some bug in the code. So what if I need to roll back? So VCS helps me to roll back to my old version and see my old code and figure out what was the bug, so I can maintain code versions and see wherever I it's like a milestone, right? So, and again, working as a team. So in the example that you saw earlier, Yajit and I was working on the really fancy calculator app, right? So when we worked on that, we had issues to sync our code. So that is when VCS comes to the play again. So we can use a VCS to sync our code properly and again track your code history. I asked Yajit, where did you save where did you make the changes? So I can, in using VCS, there are particular line statements. You can see where I made the changes, what are the changes I made, what are the files that I changed. Everything can be seen. So this is why VCS is needed.
So many newcomers have this common misconception that Git and GitHub are the same thing. So let me tell you, no, they are not the same thing. Git is just a version control system, also known as VCS, which allows you to keep track of your source code's history. Whereas GitHub is a cloud based hosting service which lets you manage your Git repositories. Now, there are multiple other alternatives to GitHub available online, like GitLab, Bitbucket, and many more. These two are mainly used by companies because of their special company focused features. But GitHub is by far the most popular service used online, and it's especially popular amongst the open source contributors. So yes, now let's do some hands-on session.
Are you guys
Let me just share
excited?
my screen. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, just put in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I hope my screen is visible. Hello?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Cool. So we are now going to start with the hands-on session. So I hope you all have already installed Git and VS Code and kept it on your systems. But if you have not, I'll just quickly show you how to install it. Let's say, yeah. So all you have to do is just go on Google, search for Git. The first link should be good enough. Like that will take you to Git's website. Over there, you can just go and hit download for Windows. So as I've already downloaded, I will not be downloading it again. Then yeah. So this is your setup screen. Just press next, and then right now, like you can go with the usual recommended settings. So just keep pressing next. Yeah, when you get to this page, you can go and override the default branch name to main. So recently GitHub made this changes to their repos that they changed the name of their main branch from master to main, because master does not sound good. So but still GitHub by default uses master. So if you want, you can change it to main, but if you haven't, that is also completely fine. I'll tell you whenever you should use master or main. Then just keep pressing next. uh, just select the recommended settings and you should be good to go. And I will not be installing it again because I have this already installed. Yeah. So now once you have Git installed, I hope you have VS Code installed too. Right. So for VS Code also, you can just go search on Google, VS Code. And the first link should be good enough. Again, whichever operating system you have, just download it. So yeah, I hope you guys are done by doing that. Right. Okay, so let's get started with some commands. So what I want you guys to do first is just go to some folder. Oh yeah, I'll just create a new folder, say Git session. Yeah. And then just go inside the folder, right click, open with code. If you do not have this option, do not panic. You can just open VS Code, then go to file, then file, open folder, and just select that folder which you just created. Cool. Okay, so let's start by creating some random file. So let's say we'll just print, we'll make one Python file which prints hello world for the sake of an example. So let's just call it main.py. And let's just print hello world. Okay. So most of you must know might be knowing Python. So this is like the basic thing, like it's the first thing that you learn in Python. Right, so now I want you guys to open terminal. So there are two ways to open the terminal. One is to go to this terminal tab at the top, click on that, click on new terminal. That is one way, or you can just use this shortcut and open the terminal. Right, so yeah, I've opened the terminal. Now what we'll do is we'll initialize this folder as a Git repository. So to do that, we will use this command called as git init. So it would be git init. What this will do is it will create a .git folder inside your Git session folder. So let me show it to you. So this folder is usually hidden. So if you do not have show hidden files option as turned on, you won't be able to see it. But yeah, for me it's turned on so you can see it. So this is the folder where all of those changes will be tracked and kept. Right. So now what you have done is you have initialized Git in this repository. So now what I want you guys to do is to go on GitHub. Go on GitHub and create a new repository, because we will be syncing all of the changes in our local repository to GitHub, which is a remote repository. You can just go to your profile. And yeah, there are two ways of creating a new repository. One is by going to this repositories tab and then clicking on new. The other way is by clicking this small plus icon at the top and then clicking on new repository. Personally, I prefer this method because it's easier, and that plus button can be accessed from any page on GitHub. So yeah, then you must already know how to fill all this. So I'll just quickly fill it. Git section. If you want, you can give it some description. Choose it to be a public or a private repo. And yeah, let's create this repository. So yeah, when you create a repository, you are taken to this page. So this page tells you like different ways of getting code on this remote repository. So one way you must have already learned in the previous session is by just going and uploading your existing file or by creating a new file. So yeah, we won't be using that method. We will be using Git to put our repository on this remote repository. So out of these, we will be using these commands. So let me just do a split screen. Yeah. So before you guys do anything, you will have to run like the new first time when you are using Git. You need to run these few commands to create your user on your system. So those are Git. Yeah, so those are git config --global user dot name, and then in inverted commas you just give your name. Yeah, so my name is so over here you will actually give your username. You can give your own name also, but it's preferred to give your GitHub username. So my GitHub username is I am Yajat, so I'll be giving that. And then now you need to even give your email. So all you have to do is write that same line and just change name to email, and then change and write your email over here. Right. So this is only required when you're setting up Git on your system for the first time. So use these two commands. One is git config --global user dot name, and then give your GitHub username. And the other command is git config --global user dot email, and give your GitHub email, and then just press enter. Once you're done doing this, just let me know. And if you have any questions right now, just put them in the chat. Right. So if you want to maintain the repository, so we have a question: how can I maintain my repository in my own PC only, and if I do not want to manage it in GitHub? Right. So first we will be committing everything on our local repository only. So if you do not want to do it on GitHub, just do not connect your repository to that remote.
You can actually add a remote repository in your local itself. So remote doesn't mean that it should be hosted in a network or something. You can actually have another folder which will be acting as your repository. So another folder in your same file. So what will you do is when you perform the git remote add command, instead of giving that GitHub logo, you will be giving your file structures path, your file names path, right? So that is how you can maintain a repo locally.
Yeah. So, okay, I guess people have caught up. So let's continue. Okay. Now, what we want to do is to save these changes, or in other words, we call it to commit these changes. So what we'll do is we'll use the command before committing. We will first check if this main.py file is staged or not. So to do that, what we'll do is we'll run this command git status. What staging means is that telling the git telling git that if it should track that file or not. So that's called staging. So if you want to stage main.py, so we will use the command git add main.py. Okay, so what this will do is it will tell Git that we want to track the changes which are being made in the file main.py. So let's just do that, press enter. Yeah, now if we again check the status, so we just run git status. Now we can see that the file main.py is being tracked. Okay, so sometimes what can happen is we might be having like thousands of files or like a lot of files in our repository. So instead of like sitting and adding each one of them by giving their names like this, we can even use this command, which is git add and then a period. If you do this, it will stage all of the files present in your repository. Right now we have only one file, so it's not a big problem by just to put the name. Otherwise, you can use git add period. Okay, so this is how you stage your files. Now, once you're done staging, you are ready to commit. So to commit, we will use the command git commit -m, and then you give the commit message. So it's something like this: git commit -m, and then you give a commit message. So your commit messages should be meaningful, so that if some other developer is going through your commit history, your changes or your commits should tell what all changes that you made in that commit. So over here we just wrote hello world, right? So we can just be like, oh, and let's just consider this as a feature. So we can just be like, it's a feature that we wrote hello world. Okay. So once you run this command, what will happen is it will commit this like the changes that you have made in Git. So right now it's happening on your local repository. So I'll show you how to then push it to Git also. Right now, if you want to check if your commit has was successful or not, you can use the command git log. What this will do is it will show you all of the commits that you have made. Right now we have only one commit, so it's just showing this one commit, and then over here you can see the name of your commit. Okay, so now let's connect this GitHub repository with GitHub. So we'll be using these commands, not exactly the same ones, but very similar. So the first one, we can copy the first command, which is git remote add origin, and then the link. So what this is doing is it is adding a remote repository, which is this, and it's calling it origin. So this is like a variable name that you give to this remote repository, and it's being added to your Git. Yeah. Now let me just copy this and paste it. Yeah, okay, we have a question. Won't Git status help? Yeah, so Git status is just to see if our files are being tracked or not, if they're being staged or not for the commit. It will not show you your commit history. Git log, whereas Git log will show you your commit history. So you can see, like, if I make more commits, all of the commits will be shown. So that's what we use Git log for. Yeah. Now we ran git remote add origin and the link. So this added this remote origin to our to our local repository. Yeah. So now let's copy the second command over here. So over here, this particular branch name will depend on what your configuration of Git was. Remember, I showed you while installing Git that you can either go with the default one, which is master, or you can change it to something else like main. So over there, if you wrote your if you just went with the recommended settings, your your default branch name would be master. Otherwise, if you change it to main, it will be main. So if you're using VS Code, it will show you your branch name over here. So just put in that same branch name over there too. So it's main for me. So I'm just putting main. Right. So after this, we will be running this command, which is called a git push. Okay. So what a git push does is it will push whatever changes you made in whatever commits you made on your local repository to your remote repository. So let's go with git push. But over here right now, as we are connecting the remote repository with our local repository, we'll add this extra command with git push, and that is git push set upstream origin main. Once again, over here, if your branch name is default branch name is master, just put in master, otherwise put in main. So what this is doing is that this is setting your default push location. So as you made this variable over here, right, origin with this link, so you're telling git push that by default you want git push to push all of your code to that repository and to this branch. So once I run this, it will push my changes to GitHub. So yeah, let me just reload this. Yeah, now you can see that my changes have been pushed over here, right there. So that's how I pushed my changes. So if you have any questions, this is a good time to ask.
I think we had a question about by Kartike about GitHub offers its functionality in forms of desktop application too, where we can do all the things we do on website. Why not use that instead of Git? So what GitHub Desktop does is it provides basically a GUI for the Git CLI. Git is a CLI tool, right? It's a command line interface tool. So what GitHub Desktop does is it gives you a graphical user interface so that you can click buttons and you can perform all the Git commands. But Git is a little bit more powerful because you can actually push to not just GitHub. You can use say you're using Bitbucket, say you join a company, you're using Bitbucket, say you're using GitLab. You can use anything can be done using Git, but GitHub doesn't. GitHub Desktop is only limited to GitHub as a cloud repo. I hope that answers your doubt.
Yeah,
is there any doubt?
I mean there are other alternatives to GitHub Desktop, like which will help you to use any cloud-based hosting service. Like in VS Code itself, you will have this other tab where you can keep track of all of these things in the form of GUI. So you can use this. So you can go and explore this out too. It's called source control.
Yeah. So another doubt we have is if we are not connected to net while uploading, will it upload it later or by itself, or we'll be needing to push again? So yes, when you try to push it, it'll show an error, but your commits will not go. If it doesn't get pushed, your commits will still be there. You'll have to push it again when you're connected to it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. Right. Now let's, so this helped you, get your local repository on GitHub. Now let's see how to create a branch. So there are two ways to create a branch. The normal way, and one is like the shortcut way. So let's do use the normal way first. So that would be git branch, and then you just give a branch name. For example, we are adding a feature to this. What feature can we add? Okay, let's just call it dev for now. So git branch dev. So what this will do is it will create another branch called dev. So you must have seen branches in the previous session. So like these branches, we'll be doing that on the local repository now. So git branch dev will create the branch. Okay, but now to make changes on that branch, you will have to switch to that branch. So to do that, we will use this command called as git checkout dev. Okay, so what this is doing is it will now switch from your main branch or the master branch to your dev branch. Now you can even see over here, my branch has switched from main to dev. So this was the normal way. Now if you want to use the shortcut way, it is git checkout dash b say dev2. I'll just create another branch for now. So what this is doing is it will create a branch and it will switch the branch for you. Like it will do both of these two commands work in one command. I can see switch to new branch dev2, and you can see it over here in VS Code also. Right. So, and now if you want to see, what all branches are there in your current repository, all you have to do is just run this command called as git branch. What this will do is it will list down all of the branches available in your repository, and it will tell you which branch you are currently on. Right? So right now we have 3 branches: dev, dev2, and main. And yeah, and we are on dev2 branch. So let's go to the dev. Okay, so to just remove confusion for now, I will be deleting dev2 branch. So to do that, what we'll do is first let's switch from dev2 branch to some other branch. Then let's go to git checkout dev. Once again, git checkout dev is to switch from one branch to the dev branch. So we have switched to the dev branch. So if we run git branch again, we can see that we are on dev branch now. And now we will delete the branch dev2. To do that, we'll do git branch -d, and then you put your other branch's name, dev2. So this has deleted my branch dev2. So let's just see it once. Git branch. Yeah, now you can see over here, now we only have 2 branches. The dev2 branch has been deleted. Right. So if you have any questions regarding branches, how to create branches and how to delete branches, you can put them up. Okay. Yeah, so by the time you guys put in your doubts, I'll now show you that you can now we will create a commit on the dev branch and then see the branches themselves. So right now if we run git log, we can see that both of the branches, which are dev and main, they are pointing to the same commit, because we have not made any extra commit in the dev branch. Right. Okay. Lovina has a doubt. Can you just put it in? That would be amazing. Right. So when you create a new branch, so the question is, will the new branches have the same files? So when you create a new branch, it will just like, let's see, if there is this line, the line will just split into 2 different lines. So like, how a normal tree's branches. So there's like this main branch coming and then it splits into 2 different branches. That's what will happen. So whatever was there in that branch before will be there in that new branch also. But now whatever changes you'll make in that new branch won't be committed on the actual branch which was there before. So what I mean is, when whatever changes now you'll make to the dev branch won't reflect in the main branch. Right. But whatever, so over here now you can see the dev branch also has that commit which we made in the main branch. So now both of them have that same code. And now as we are in the dev branch, right, you can see the code is there.
We have another doubt by Lavina. So if we have made changes in our local code and pushed it, Git says that you're not in sync with the master branch, and then when you pull the master code, it rewrites the local changes. So that's what Yajat was saying now. So when you see the Git log, you can see which code is where. So when you like branch out to a developer branch and code something, then the code is only there in the developer branch. It's not there in the master branch, right? So when you pull the code from the master branch, that won't be there. So we're gonna see how we'll be switching the code to from the developer branch to the master branch. And Yajat will be showing you that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah. Right. So now let's make a commit on the dev branch only. So say let's make some changes. Let's just call this hello Yajat instead of hello world. Right. Let's just commit this. So to commit this, what you will do is first you will just, if you want, you can check git status. So it will show you that this file has been modified, but it's not being tracked by Git right now. So to do that, first we'll add it to Git so that it gets tracked. So status. So now it's being tracked. Now after it's being tracked, we are ready to commit it. So git commit -m. So say adding my name was a new feature. So feature added Yajat. Okay. So let's just run this. So now I have committed this change in the dev branch only. So to see that, we can do git log. Yeah. Now you can see the main branch is pointing at that old commit, whereas the dev branch is pointing at this new commit. So whatever changes that you made in the dev branch did not, happen in the main branch also. So right now it has created a separate branch for itself to, make commits. Right. So now if you want to merge this dev branch back to the main branch, so like you now separated the two branches, made some change in the second branch, and if you want to merge it back to the main branch, what we'll do is we'll use this command called as git merge. Right. So to do that, first we will switch to the branch to which we want to merge the dev branch to. So let's do git checkout to the main branch or the master branch. When we do that, we switch to the main branch. Now, if you see over here, the main branch still has the code hello world. The changes that we made in the dev branch did not get, saved in the main branch. It is only in the dev branch. But now we want those changes to come in the main branch also. So we'll be merging the two branches. To do that, we will use the command git merge, and then you mention the name of the branch which you want to merge to the main branch. So that would be our dev branch. So git merge dev. Now you can see over here, the whatever changes we made in the dev branch got reflected to the main branch also. You can see we are on main branch, and now that changes came to the main branch. If you want, you can check the logs, git log. Yeah, now both of the branches are pointing at the same commit. Now as we merged the two, now both of them have the same commits. Right. So now if you have any questions regarding git merge, shoot. So yeah, there's a question: if there are multiple branches, is there any hierarchy of such? So usually, the branch which you use to put your like the branch which you use to deploy to production, meaning to the world, so that people can use your service, is your main or your master branch. So usually you do not mess with that branch when you're making a new feature. To make a new feature, what you'll do is you'll split that master branch into another feature branch, and then make all of the changes in that feature branch, test that code, till you know that it's almost bug free. Then you merge it to the main branch. Otherwise, when you're creating the branches, there isn't any hierarchy that I know of. I don't think there is any hierarchy. Right. Is there any? So usually, sometimes what happens is when you are merging two branches, there can be merge conflicts. So I'm not sure if there is any automatic way of solving them, but usually what happens is it tells you, if especially if you're using VS Code, it has like powerful tools in which you can choose between what code to keep. Right. So that can be used to manage your merge conflicts. Cool. So now let's move on. Yeah, that's it for the hands-on session for now. If you want, you can push this to the GitHub repo. As we have already committed all of the changes, we don't have to commit it again. So just write git push. And now you do not need to use that set upstream command because Git already knows that your default upstream location, meaning the default remote repository location, is your GitHub repository. So you do not have to use that again. Just write git push. So this will push your code to GitHub. Let me just reload. Now you can see over here, the code has been pushed to GitHub also. Cool. Let's go back to the slides. Okay, I can definitely summarize everything. So what we did today is, first we created a folder. Oh yeah, I created a folder called Git session. Then inside that, like, I opened that folder in VS Code, which is over here. Then inside that, I created a file called as main.py, wrote some code in it, and then initialized a Git repository using the command git init. Then after that, what I did was I set up my username and email ID on my Git. Right now, it's not being shown properly. Yeah, so the command was git config dash dash global user dot user dot name. Then in inverted commas you put your name, and for email you write this command, and then in inverted commas you put email. So this is only used to tell Git that these are your credentials when you're making commits. Then after making changes, we check the status. So we saw that these changes were not staged. To stage the changes, we use the command called as git add. Then after that, those changes got staged. Then we saw git log. In that we saw it shows the commits that we made. And yeah, before that we made a commit also, which using the command git commit -m, and then putting a nice commit message, something like this. Then when we checked git log, we saw that that commit was actually made. Then we connected our local repository with our GitHub repository. We created a new repository and added that remote location to our Git on our local repository. Then after that, we pushed the code to the remote repository. Then after that, we saw branches. We created a new branch using two different methods, which is git branch dev and git checkout dev. Git branch dev just creates a branch, and git checkout dev switches from one branch to the other branch, whereas git checkout -b dev 2 creates the branch and switches the branch both at the same time. Then we made a commit in the dev branch. Then we merged the two branches, and then we pushed that again to our remote repository, which is being shown here. Okay. Right. I'm glad that you're paying attention. Cool. Let me just switch to my slides. Okay, so now I have some questions for you guys. Right. Now I have some questions for you guys. And if you have, meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can keep putting them in chat. We'll address them too. So the first question is, I have a file named index.html and secrets.txt, which are unstaged at the moment. And I only want to stage the file index.html. What should be my command? Put in the chat fast. It's just one command. So yeah. Oh, hello,
Yeah,
Alok.
guys.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Nice.
Correct. Okay, yes. The answer is git add index.html. No, Harsh. Like the command add is used to stage, right? So you use the command git add index.html. Okay, and if you wanted to add both of them, you will use the command git add period.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay, a lot of you are giving the correct answers. Good job, guys. Okay, now to the next question. Yeah, I have two branches. For example, I have two branches. One is the main branch and the dev branch. And I am currently working on the dev branch. And I'm done committing everything that I want to in the dev branch. Now, how should I merge them? Yeah, quickly just put your answers in the chat. I'll give you a hint. There are two commands to do it. You'll have to use two commands to do this. Yes, Lovina, git add period is used to add all of the files in the directory. Git checkout main and then git merge dev. Okay, that's correct, Prathamesh. Yeah, so what you will do is first you will switch from the dev branch to the main branch, and then you will merge the two branches. So the answer is git checkout main and then git merge dev.
Good job, guys.
Good job, guys. So, okay, let's switch to our third question. Alok, do you want to take this question?
Yeah, so I'm done making changes to my local repository. What should I do to commit and push them to GitHub? I use words commit and push only, but there are three commands, as you can see in the hint.
Yeah.
Can we see some answers?
Okay, I'll give you one hint. Your files are not staged yet.
Yeah.
So first you have to stage your files. Let's go, people. Put your answers in the chat.
Yeah.
That's not exactly correct.
Yeah.
Moaz. Try again. So a part of the answer is the first question's answer also. There are totally three commands, three different commands.
Not just the commit command, everything. You need to push to GitHub. It's
yeah. So yes, the order is not correct, Lovina, but you have got it correct. Okay. Should I go to the answer, Alok?
Yeah, let's.
Okay. Let's see the answer. So first, you will stage all of your changes using git add period. Then you will commit it using git commit -m and then the commit message. And then you will push it using git push.
Again, Loveen, yeah, Amar has given an answer. The order is kind of wrong. You get added, you get committed, then you get pushed.
Yeah, Prathamesh, that's the
Yeah,
correct order
that's
and
correct.
the answer. Yeah. Cool, cool. So, do you guys have any other questions?
Um,
And yeah, if you guys are lacking behind, just let us know. We'll wait for another 1 minute or something.
any doubts, just shoot them.
Yeah.
Okay, if we don't have any doubts, let's just continue with the session. So we are going to make our first open source contribution now. So we are going to check out GitHub. You guys saw what GitHub was, what other different stuff like pull requests, repositories, branches, and everything. Manan might have taught you guys in the first morning session. So we are going to see we are going to actually make a proper contribution in this session in this part of the session. So I've got VS Code here open. So we have the IEEE VIT student chapters GitHub organization open. It is just github.com/IEEE VIT. You can just go here and see all the open source work that we do here. We've got our FOSS going, so we've got all the repos for FOSS here in the pin repos. Now we are going to actually make a contribution today. So I've selected a basic repo with here. It's just playing with numbers. It's kind of similar to what we saw earlier. But yeah, so first of all, when we see a repo, we've got a README in a repo, right? So README is just like just like a project description. So we've got our it's a repo's description README. So we've got our Hacktoberfest 2020. This is a 2020 repo. This is an old repo that we're going to contribute. But you guys will be contributing to the new repos in the code sprint that we have. So we've got some guidelines that we have here. So getting started, we've got to fork the repo. Okay. So what is forking the repo? We can see that here there is a button called forking the repo. So there are 15 people who have forked the repo. So what is exactly forking the repo? Okay, so say I have a friend who has uh, a notebook. So like a notebook where he writes all his notes for the classes. Now I am going to borrow that notebook. Say he's sick some sudden day. So I'm going to borrow that notebook and write notes for him because I'm such a good friend. Right. So I'm going to write those notes for him as in my notes. Okay. So I'm gonna see where he has written. So in my notes, I'm gonna write for him and then I'm going to give back my notes to him. Okay, so you can see there is an exchange here. We are borrowing it, and we are borrowing the all his notes. Like we know where he's done till. Then we are making changes, and then we are giving back. Right. So we can make any changes we want, and then we are giving back. So we are kind of making a copy of his notes. Then we're making changes and giving back. So that is what is forking. So forking means we're just copying the entire repo to our ownership, right? So when I click on fork, what is going to happen is I can actually click on my account, and when I click on this is my username / playing with numbers Python. So what happens is I am forking the repo to my ownership. So what happens is everything in the repo folder now can be written in my name, so it's kind of in my name. So this the objective of forking is to contribute, so we can play around with any kind of changes that you want in this repo. The repo at IEEE won't be affected, but you can also contribute to that. So we'll see how we're going to contribute. So we have forked the repo now. Now we're going to clone the forked repo and move inside it. Then we'll check out to a new branch and do some project stuff and add these. You guys must know these commands, right? So they're pretty simple. So now what we're going to do is we have our repo, right? So yeah, so we have our repo here. Now I'm going to copy the URL here and I'm going to go to VS Code. So here, I hope you guys had VS Code installed. So the VS Code has, again, as you just told, a GUI thingy. So to make GitHub commands. So either you can open the terminal from up here and write it down. I mean, use the actual Git commands, or you can actually use the source control this thing here. So it's pretty simple. You just clone the repo. I can paste my link here and I can click clone from URL. Press just enter key. So now I can choose where I want to clone. I can just select the repository location. Now it gets cloned. I can click on open. So what happens is I can, yep, let's trust. So I have the repo here in VS Code. So I haven't given any Git commands, but I got every code here, right? Just what it does is it clones it. So what happens here is VS Code executes that git clone command for us. That's it. Simple. So now let's just go through the code. We've got app.py and stuff here. Okay. Nice. It's probably some other issue for the errors. Anyway, let's just go back to the repo and let's see what are the issues open. So you guys saw issues in the morning repo, right? So let's see, there are two issues open. There is a Fibonacci series issue opened by Yajat. So why not? Let's just use that. So implement Fibonacci series. Such an easy description, Yajat. So we're gonna use that Fibonacci series. Now I'm gonna ask him, uh, can I take up this issue? I'm just gonna comment it out. Let's see if Yajat will assign the issue to me. So right, we can see another issue here also, but let's just stick to the other issue. So in open source, say a person is assigned it to, hey Aditya, someone is assigned, but yeah, I was first. So again, so the thing is, when during an open source, when a person is working on an issue, or when if a person asks for an issue, it's a first come first serve basis, right? So when a person asks for an issue, then you assign it to them. You don't open a PR for this issue. So what happens is, if he's working on an issue, we let him work on an issue and complete it. So that is what is open source. We have some sort of values, right? So I've got it assigned. So Yajat has assigned the issue to me. Thank you, Yajat. So now we're going to work on the issue. So it's just to implement the Fibonacci series. Let's just implement the Fibonacci series then. So we've got some, okay, there is some formatting issues, I guess, here. Let's just format it. There are some basic issues here. Let's just, all right, so we've got all the errors fixed. Now let's, there is a factorial function, there is a multiply function, there's an add, prime, print factors, and all of that. Okay. So why don't we just add a function here, right? So we can just add a function there. But I'm not sure like what kind of naming conventions they use and stuff. Let's just go back to the repo. Okay, there is a contributing.md. So when you contribute to a repo, you can see if they have some sort of guidelines to where it is, where what kind of stuff must be there and stuff like that. So the contributing guidelines, contributing.md, what it says is the contributing guidelines. So when I am trying to contribute to a repo, you read their particular contributing guidelines and make sure you follow them. So this document contains certain rules and guidelines that developers are expected to follow. So we've got commit messages. So use the M flag for only minor changes. The message following the M flag must be of below format. So they have a particular format for the commit messages, so the verb in past tense and actions. So examples will be added serializers.py for users app, updated, so verb in present tense and stuff. So they have got a particular format. I don't know why this is not working. These are not valid commit messages. So before opening a PR, make sure you squash all your commits into one single commit using the git reviews. Okay, nice. Now let's do the issues. Okay, so when you make issues such that a major portion of the code needs to be changed or added, you make issues when these sort of situations comes, right? So you want feature enhancements, or you encounter bugs, or you have code refactoring, or text coverage should be increased. All of these you can open issues in this repository, and open issues has a particular template. And all right, okay, so we're not opening an issue now. Now branches and PRs. So no commits must be made to the master branch directly. Okay, we won't do that. Now developers are expected to work on feature branches, so we will be working on a feature branch. A branch must be named as either as the feature being implemented or the issue being fixed. So yes, so the branches has to have some particular names like the issue number or the feature name or the functionality. What you need to just make sure that your branches and stuff have a proper valid name so that they can understand what is the purpose of that branch, right? So an example of invalid branch names will be your name or attempt to fix auth. Please don't put these kinds of invalid branch names. Now, then there are discussion ethics. If they are discussed, if we require some sort of a discussion with the developer, we can also do that. Everyone should be respectful of everyone's opinion. Any harsh or disrespectful language is strictly prohibited. Okay, nice. In coding ethics, we have to use comments whenever necessary. So we have to document our code properly, and the project structure should be neat and organized. We can't just put some random structure. It should be neat. Then the name of the folders must not be too long. Okay, strictly have gender neutral terms. Okay, we shouldn't add he, him, or she, her. We should use they, them. Okay, so another thing will be coding style guidelines. So when you code in a particular language, the language has particular styles, and maybe the repo has a particular style. So there, the style that they use will be given here. So coding style guidelines. So say Python, for example, there are some things like you use snake case for some languages, you use camel case. So these are some stuff you can just Google and see. If you can just follow these links here, these will give you proper guidelines of what the coding style will be and what are the guidelines that they are following. So for all languages it's given here, you can just follow there. All right, so we've gone through the contributing.md. Now let's just go back to our repo and see what we're going to do. So we are going to take up
Okay.
this issue, by the way.
Okay,
So
so one thing I want to just tell that this repository is not this year's Hacktoberfest repository. It's 2020, yeah, 2020's
yeah, last
repository.
year's.
So yeah, making first of all making PRs to this will not contribute to your Hacktoberfest. And the other thing is that this repository right now is mainly just for demonstration purposes. So we have like more repositories available for you guys to go and pick up issues and contribute to. Yeah,
Yeah.
Alok, you can continue.
All right. So we are just going to make a new function for define. What were we gonna do? Fibonacci. Right. Now I'm just gonna receive an in here, and if let's just have an if x is equal to 0, return 0, I mean n, elif n is equal to 1, return 1, and then if not, I'll return Fibonacci of -1 plus Fibonacci of -2. All right. Do we have any other issues on this? No. Okay. Okay, so this seems good. All right, so let's just run it and see if there are no errors. So we can just run python 3 app.py. Yeah, so it's working. We are not seeing any errors. Number one, oh sorry, number three, 6, 2, 2, 4. Okay, factor is 2. Okay, got some other issue there. Hmm. Yeah, so we've fixed all the errors and now let's just try and push it. Right? Okay. So what we're gonna do is again the same commands. Git add dot, git commit -m, fix. We are solving Fibonacci. Git push. Yeah, let's just push it. Yeah, so we have pushed it. So let me guys ask you a question. Where did it push it now? Where do you think it pushed it now? Any idea? So some might think it pushed to the actual repo, but it actually pushed to my repo, that is the forked repo again, because we cloned the forked repo. So you can see that I did the comment feed Fibonacci 40 seconds ago. So I did everything as mentioned in the commit guidelines. We've got the change here in the app.py. There was a 40 seconds ago, there was a change. We've got a Fibonacci function here. Now the next step. Now what we're going to do is see this. This branch is one commit ahead of IEEE main. So we are going to open a pull request. You might have seen that you've opened a pull request in the morning session. So we're going to open a pull request now. So we are going to request to merge my repo to IEEE's repo. That is what we're going to do when you open a pull request, right? So what you can do is you can see this contribute button here, right? So when you click on that contribute button, you have that open pull request. So you can click on open pull request and it should take you to IEEE's repo and show you all the changes that you've made. I've made some tab changes and stuff for that. It's not bad. So yeah, we can review the changes. One file changed, one contributor, one commit. Okay, then we're going to create the pull request. I'm going to say feed Fibonacci. And when you leave a comment to a pull request, you should actually link the pull request to the issue that we're seeing. So what were we doing? We were solving issue number 33, right? So when we were solving issue number 33, we should mention that in the pull request that we are solving issue number 33. So, oh no, where is our pull requests? Yes. So we've got a close this thingy, close this number. When we say just closes number 33, Fibonacci series. So you can see when you click on the hashtag, you can see what all are the open issues and stuff. You can just type in Fibonacci and I can see Fibonacci. So close is number 33. So I'm just going to give this, and I'm going to create close is number 33. I'm going to create pull request, but I'm making sure should I add anything. Okay, so I can request a review from Yajat here. So when you have repos, you request to reviewers. So if they have mentioned the reviewers, you request them. You can also allow edits by maintainers here, so that there is some change that they have to make, then they can. So I am allowing requests, and you can add labels as well here. Any kind of label, say Hacktoberfest label is there, any kind of label I can add, but this is not a Hacktoberfest repo, so I'm not doing that. This is a, yeah, that's it. Let's just create the pull request now. Okay, I have created a pull request, and I have requested a review from Yajit. So while that pull request gets merged, let's see, Yajat will go through that and see if my code is okay and stuff. Let's just go back to our slides. And yeah, so do we have some questions, by the way? Yeah. So if I'm working on multiple projects at a time, so I'll need to make one repo for each. Yeah. So if you're working on, yes, you will have to fork the repos, the multiple repos that you're talking about, if you want to work on those repos. And what else? Any questions?
Alok, just show them once that the issue has been linked. I mean, the pull request has been linked with the
Oh
issue.
yeah, sure, sure. So when you go back to the issues and see Fibonacci here, you can see that Menbom27, my user ID, linked a pull request that will close the issue 1 minute ago. So you can see that number 36, which is my pull request, can be seen here in the linked pull request. So that is GitHub automatically does that when I said that closes number 33. If it does not, like if we are not giving this, you can actually go to linked issues and add the linked issues, whatever you want here, right? So we are still requesting a review. Let's now the slides. So while we wait for the PR, let's just go through some other of the OSS tips. So some of the open source tips that you might need for your contributions. So, okay, we have another question, by the way. When do merge conflicts happen? Okay, so merge conflicts happens when two people are working on the same file, and they don't have the proper previous file. So like when they have, say, I pushed my code, and Yajat is also working on my same file, but then they don't have, like, Yajat doesn't have my code. My code is merged with the main. So main has my code, but Yajat does not have my code. And when Yajat tries to open a PR, then there'll be a merge conflict. It's a little bit complicated topic. We'll try to explain that in the further sessions. So, yep. The first one. So, while working on a project, you might have some secrets that you don't want to share with the world. So, say you're using some sort of an API on a project or a database or something. So, say you're creating an email scraper or something, you're just creating a program for your email. So, your project actually needs your email password, right? So when you can't just store your email password in the program and push it to GitHub. It'll just go everywhere and everyone can see it. So what you do is you create a credentials folder, I mean credentials file, which will save all the passwords that you use in the project. So some people use something called as env files or environment files, so which will actually store the passwords, and you can store keys and stuff, API keys. So when you're storing this, you should not push that credentials file anywhere, right? So you should actually say git to not push these files. So that is what git ignore is for. So git ignore is for files. Git ignore is a list of files which will not be tracked by Git. Git will not track those files. Git will not push them to the GitHub. It'll just stay on your local repository. So that is what is git ignore. You can add those. Yeah. So git will make sure not to track those files. Now,
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna see how you will be able to find issues and all. Um, yeah. So yeah,
So just go to GitHub. In that over there, you can see this tab called as issues. So just go to issues. Then over there, all of the issues that you have created or you are linked to will be mentioned over there. Right. So if you're working on some issue, it will show up over here, and then you can easily access that issue from here. But say you want to contribute to some other repository, and you want to search for that for issues on GitHub. So what you can do is you can first clear this out, and if you press enter, what it will do is it will show you the list of all open issues on GitHub. We do not want that. So to narrow down our search, what we'll do is say you're a new open source contributor, so you're looking for some good first issues, which are usually some easy issues which people can solve. So you can search for the label, say good first issue. So when you search for label good first issue, it will list down all issues which have the label good first issue on GitHub. Right. So then you can go through them and pick up some issue whichever you like. But now say you do not know all languages, because over here you are not filtering any language out, right? So it will show all languages issues to you. So say you only know Python, you do not know any other language. So you can even filter that. So say language Python. So just use language colon Python, press enter. Now what it will do is it will show you good first issues from repositories which have code written in Python. Say let's just go to this repository. Let's just check. You can see over here this repository is written in Python. Then you can go through this issue. If you can solve this issue, just leave a comment and then ask them to assign this issue to you. Then say if you want to use multiple labels. For example, now there is Hacktoberfest and you want to finish your 4 PRs and you're searching for repositories which are linked with Hacktoberfest, then you can add the Hacktoberfest label too. So when you do that, now it will show you good first issues from Hacktoberfest repos, which and the language in that repo is Python. So yeah, now you can just go through any of these like these issues and then complete the ones whichever you think you can do, and make a contribution.
Yeah. So that's all about finding issues. Now we can just move on. Now let's have some pro tips. So yeah, so now let's see how you can contribute to huge open source repositories, so like Kubernetes or Bitcoin or stuff like that, right? So we're gonna go through some pro stuffs for like to easily contribute to these repos. Add more tests. So some of these issues will be like add more tests. So you can create an issue like add more tests. So what are exactly these tests? Tests are kind of like code for testing your code, right? Code for testing your code. So the repo has some code, and what test does is tests will check proper use cases. We have got certain use cases, and we make the project go through those use cases and make sure it works properly, like proper outputs are given. So depending on the project, it may be really well tested or not really well tested. Adding more tests are always good. So to do this, you can identify which code that must be covered. You can even say a function name that is parse some data can be tested, that is indeed parses data. So you can just give it some random data and check if it's parses properly. So all these are just tests. Now that is one part. And another thing, another kind of PRs or issues are like when to make code faster. So say you found a function that runs slowly. Say simple. Take for example, you have a linear search algorithm, so which takes O of n complexity, but you can implement binary search or some other kind of search algorithm that you want, which will be faster than that. Simple example. So that is how you can make code fast if they have a searching algorithm and stuff like that. So you can find yeah, all these issues in all these good repos it's also. So you can just go through them and try to contribute and be happy. It's just a great pleasure when you can see your merged PRs that you've contributed to a huge repo like that. Now let's go back and check out our PR. I hope Yajat, what happened? Let's see. Okay. Oh, Yajat has actually commented out. Please call the Fibonacci function main. When we saw this, oh, we don't have the Fibonacci function main. Okay, let's do that. But say I don't wanna use VS Code anymore. I'm gonna show you guys a cool feature. I'm just gonna go back to my repo, and where is my repo? Yep, so I have my repo here, and I'm just gonna press period on my keyboard, okay? A dot on my keyboard. Now it is going to set up a web editor. So this is just a cool feature that GitHub launched recently. So you can actually have a VS Code window open in GitHub and just use it directly. You don't have to even open your VS Code. So we've got a readme here. Say I go to my app.py, and I'm going to just call my Fibonacci function here. Fibonacci of n. Oh, but we don't have an n. So what if we just input the number here, right? Let's just call an n is equal to input of input of enter the number. Okay, I think that's it. Now you can see that VS Code will, like, the web editor will automatically save my changes. I can go to the source control and I can give my message fix function key not called in main. So I can just commit it. I can just press a control enter, I guess. Yeah. I can just press a command or a control enter, and it'll be committed directly to my main branch. So now when I go back here and open my issue, open my PR, you can see fix Fibonacci not called in main. So that's just a quick way you can use VS Code on GitHub. So yes, now let's hope Yajat I made your changes. Okay, Yajat approved those changes. I can see them live. Nice. Okay. I can see changes approved. Now, they've merged it. Yes. Okay, nice. Okay, every time you see that message, it's just happiness. Yeah. Okay, so that was it for the session. This is how you'll make your first open source contribution. Let's hope in this Hacktoberfest, in this October, you'll make much more open source contributions this time. And yeah, happy open sourcing.
Happy open sourcing.
Yes, so
I mean, you can sad night. You can make changes in your on your mobile, but the thing is, how will you press period on your mobile
yeah, like if you
unless you
don't
like
want to
attach a
press
keyboard or
period,
something?
like you can actually go to Git, just change this to github.dev, right? So you
Right,
can just,
right, right. Oh yeah, you just change the domain name to dev.
yeah, you can just change it to dev, and it'll just open the,
Right. Okay, then you can do it on your mobile too.
yeah.
Cool. If you
Anyway,
guys have
yeah,
any questions, shoot. We'll stay here for
yep,
another minute. If you want, you can give feedback. Anything.
yeah.
Also,
anything.
after this, we have a code sprint, so stay tuned for that.
So yeah, let's just see how before you start with our code sprint, you should actually register in our code sprint portal. So the URL will be codesprint.ieeevit.org. Everybody must go here. So you'll have a code sprint page here. Now, when you click on enroll, you go to your GitHub page and you can authorize it successfully. There might be a Git page opening there, and they'll be just click on the authorize button and you'll be successfully enrolled in the code sprint. So make sure you do this. We'll be having the links here. So yeah, you can even see the leaderboard when you click on this leaderboard. You can see Adi from our core has a lot of scores. He made the portal, by the way. So yeah, you can see the leaderboard here. Just check it out, codesprint.ieeevit.org. Yeah, you've got the link there.
Thank you
What's
so
up,
much, guys.
Vibhuti?
I'm glad you guys liked the session. Oh, hi, Vibhuti. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Hi guys, that was actually a very fabulous session. Thank you for that. I mean, I totally loved it, and I'm sure the audience loved it too. Now, I think we have a few minutes. If anybody has any doubts, we can take that up before we move on to the next part.
So, any doubts for the code sprint, you can actually come to our Discord server and we'll be there to solve your doubts.
Okay, I think I should move on.
Yep.
Moving on, we are very glad that all of you joined us today, and all of us are very glad about that. And we really hoping to see you forward in the next part, which is the code sprint. Now, I'll tell you what exactly the code sprint is. Uh, Code sprint is an 8-hour sprint in which you are supposed to solve as many issues as possible and get them merged to the repositories which are labeled as Hacktoberfest of the IEEE org. Also, there are about 7 repositories. You are free to go check all of them out, see whatever issue suits you the most, whatever kind of issues. And I know there are beginners present in this session, and I do recommend them also to take part in code sprint, because honestly the issues vary from as simple as creating a Python function to as challenging as implementing a live search functionality. So make sure you contribute as much as you can. And the next part is that you have to register to the code sprint portal, which was just showed here, the link of which we would be putting in the chat box. And the first, there's also an exciting thing for you guys. We have about 7 repositories. So the first PR merge for each of the repositories will be getting a shout out on our official Twitter handle. So yeah, make sure yours is the first one to get merged. So let's just start going with that. And every merging PR will have its own set of points, which is 10. Every PR would give you 10 points. And the person with the most merged PRs wins, which is of course. So the code sprint will begin right at 6 p.m. and will go on till 2 a.m. Right exactly at 2 a.m., the code sprint will end and the leaderboard will be frozen. Any contributions made after that will not be visible on our code sprint. In case you on our leaderboard, in case you do not in case you're not able to enroll in the code sprint portal, do let us know, because it is compulsory for you to enroll. In case you don't, you will be disqualified and your name will not be added to the leaderboard. Now the code sprint will end exactly at 2. I'm repeating it to make it clear that any PR merged after that will not be reflected on the leaderboard. And the person on the top of the leaderboard, of course, is declared as the winner, after which and would be awarded with exciting goodies. Getting 4 PR merged, getting about 4 PRs merged will make you eligible for the Hacktoberfest prizes, which are t-shirts and planting a tree. So we hope you have no doubts at all. We'll be putting up the feedback form also in the chat box. Please make sure you fill it. The 2CC students will also be required to fill the attendance form. which would also be put up by the team in the chat box. So if you guys haven't registered yet, please register. And the Discord server link will also be put up in the chat section. So make sure you go and you check out our server. In case you have any doubts, we are free and our team will be there all the time to help you guys through it. We hope you guys liked this session and we hope you guys enjoyed as much as we did. Thank you for tuning in. We are waiting for you at the code sprint now. Please make sure you do participate. Thank you, everyone. If you guys want like an individual walkthrough of the repos, Alok and Yajat can take that up for you. If you guys want that, you can reply in the chat box.
Yeah. Okay.
I
So,
am going to be repeating for everybody to fill the feedback form as well as the 2CC students to fill in the attendance form.
we have let's just go through the repos. We've got a Hangman repo, which is create a simple React app that lets you play Hangman in your browser. It's actually hosted. You can check it out here. So we have the everything is listed as just as I showed you in the earlier repos. Then we have an obstacle avoider robot, which is actually an electronics project. So we've got the Arduino code there and also the schematics there. We've also got issues, a lot of issues there. And go to the just when it's 6 p.m., you can just go and comment out on the issues and get it assigned. And we've got a Rust project, which is a one-stop solution for all your boilerplate needs. So it's actually a CLI plus TOI tool. It's written in Rust, which helps you generate boilerplate templates. So what boilerplate means is basic, a basic layout for every code that you write again and again. So yeah, that's what's basic boilerplate. So we've got an Expendi iOS app, which is an iOS app which tracks an expense tracker. We've also got issues here. We have actually people assigning the issues as well. Then we've got an AutoGrader, which is an ML project, which is from Yajat and Avyay and Anshul. And we have, yes, everything is here. We've got issues as well. So go check it out. We've got a Consi bot, which is a Discord bot, which helps you, concentrate with your time management and everything. So yeah, so another thing is some of the other repos.
Also, one thing, if you're not able to finish your contributions during the code sprint time, do not lose heart. You can still contribute and you'll still be eligible to get the Hacktoberfest ka t-shirt and prizes.
Yeah.
So you can keep contributing throughout the month for Hacktoberfest prizes. So Alok, why don't we show them our GitHub readmes?
Oh.
Yeah, I think we should do that. Yeah, they would get another more gist of what the projects are exactly about, and they can pick up from where they want.
Okay.
We'll be guiding
Choose one.
them.
Choose one, people.
Let's go to Templar Aris, yeah.
Okay. So Templars is a Rust project, right? So it was made by me and Manan, which you saw in the morning session. So it is basically we implemented TOI tool. It was our first Rust project that we tried to learn within a week. So yes, it was built with something called as TOI-RS, which lets you give this beautiful TOI list and stuff. You can select it, and yeah. Oh, we even have one pull request. Anyway, we have
Yeah. Does anybody have any last doubts before we wrap up the session?
thank you.
Also, this Hacktoberfest, make good contributions. Do not make bad ones. Like
Yeah.
just changing one letter and just for the sake of T-shirt, making a contribution. Don't do that. Make good 4 PRs. That will actually even help you build your own GitHub profile. Also, you can then even later boast that you made PR in so and so repository. Say if I
Yeah.
make a PR in the Bitcoin repository, so I can boast about that and things like that.
All right. That brings us to the end of the session, though not the end of First Fiesta. We're looking forward to seeing you in Code Sprint, and do make sure that you participate and you contribute back to the community. We were glad to see the kind of response, and we were happy that all of you joined us today. So, guys, yes, please keep contributing. And if you have any doubts, see us at the Discord server, the link of which would be put on in the chat box. Thank you for being here today, guys. Thank you. Bye. Happy contributing.
Bye bye.
Happy contributing.
Bye. Happy contributing.